The Department of Transportation, in the dark of night, last night, granted Mexican trucks widespread access to American highways. And as KCY NOW reports, the federal government acted in spite of concerns that the plan would create a safety hazard on this nation's highways and threaten our national security.
Literally under the cover of darkness, the Transportation Department late Thursday launched its one-year pilot program that will allow hundreds of Mexican trucks unrestricted access to U.S. highways. That despite the objections of Congress, trucking unions, and border security advocates.
The arrogance and the attitude that we're witnessing right now that's going to try to shove this program through, open up the border, regardless of the views of the American people, regardless of the views of the Congress.
Since 1982, most Mexican trucks have been restricted to 25-mile cargo transfer zones near the border. The Bush administration says it's meeting long overdue obligations under the North American Free Trade Agreement and points out that U.S. trucks will now have greater access to Mexico.
For the first time ever, U.S. companies will be allowed to go south of the border. And so my money's on the Americans, believe it or not, because I think Americans can compete, and I think we'll do very well.
Many say the deal compromises border security, American trucking jobs, and U.S. highway safety. One congressman compares the Mexican truck program to an agreement later rescinded to sell several U.S. port operations to a company based in Dubai.
America is not for sale. When President Bush arranged the Dubai ports deal, the American people rejected it, and now the administration is attempting to do it again. Mexican trucks do not meet our U.S. standards, period.
The final hurdle was cleared after the Transportation Department issued its response to deficiencies in the program uncovered by its Inspector General. One example concerns that regulators would not live up to their promise to inspect every Mexican truck involved in the pilot program every time it crosses the border. That will be a tough task, considering more than 2,000 Mexican trucks cross at San Diego's Otay Mesa port of entry daily. More than 3,000 cross each day in Laredo, Texas. And at many crossings, Customs and Border Protection says it has a shortage of manpower and can't assist with the program. Inspections will mostly be performed by personnel from the Department of Transportation and from state highway patrols. They will be responsible for separating trucks allowed full access to U.S. highways from those that must stay near the border. Lou?
Casey, I find it fascinating that this administration cloaks their absurd decision here in the cloak, and under the cloak of darkness, by the way, in their living up to their obligations under the Mexican-Canadian-American NAFTA treaty. But they're not in any way living up to their obligations to the American people to enforce border security, to enforce port security, or to stop illegal immigration. This administration, in this undertaking and its rationalization of it, I think we could fairly say, and I will say, the Department of Transportation is cowardly, and this decision is rationalized to such an extreme that it's an outright lie. It's a lie to Congress. It's a lie to the American people.
Lou,
You're waiting for the question, aren't you? All I've got is a statement on that.
Well, you know, you can certainly make the case that they're being disingenuous in a lot of different ways. For example, that former DOT official who says he's betting his money on American truckers going into Mexico and recouping the jobs that they've lost from Mexican truckers coming into the U.S. I don't know how that's going to happen when Mexican truck drivers make a fraction of what American truck drivers make, Lou.
And the idea that former negotiator of that deal is the person the Department of Transportation puts forward to speak for the Department of Transportation and this Bush administration apparent manifest destiny driven toward open borders and an abject disregard of American workers, our American middle class, driver safety. I mean, it's just, I cannot think of a more disgusting display by the Department of Transportation in some time. And these cowards at the Department of Transportation won't speak to the issue themselves. They go to a former Bush administration official to give you comment, to give everyone else comment on this, and don't have the guts to stand up and speak as the officials of the Department of Transportation. I think it's disgusting.
Lou, in fairness, I have to say they did hold a conference call late last night.
About what time would you say that was?
I'm not sure. I know it was after 9 o'clock.
Well,
most people were watching football, I think.
I think so, too. And it's very nice of them to do that. We thank you very much, Casey Wyan, reporting from Los Angeles. Time now for some of your thoughts. Jerry in Texas said, just when you thought the president couldn't make a worse mess of things, he takes stupid to a new high or low. Mexican trucks roaming free in this country? I bet the drug dealers are dancing in the streets in Mexico. No bet. And Robert in Washington. Mexican trucks hit the U.S. roads. The Congress Strive Act selling out American workers. Ramos and Campion sit in prison. Looks like our leaders are working for the other side. You couldn't be more right. And Connie in Florida. While the Mexican trucks are wearing out our roads and using other facilities, who's paying the cost? Surely not the Mexican business. Could it be the American taxpayers, as usual? It certainly could.